Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to take a look at some two-wheeled fun. That's right, we're going to check out a scooter, the E500 Model 1 Classic from Unagi. Before we get started, if you're into tech, hi-fi, or movies, be sure to push the subscribe button for new weekly videos. To kick things off, let's talk a little bit about the Unagi brand. So this is a pure play scooter brand, and they make two different products, the Model 1 Voyager and the Model 1 Classic. The Voyager is the higher end product, and the Classic is, I don't want to call it entry level because it's not really entry level. It's a nice solid scooter designed for what I can call the urban traveler, right? The goal of Unagi is to build the finest scooter, and I kind of think of them as the iPhone of scooters. It's really high end. It's a in quotes luxurious scooter, but beyond that, one of the interesting things is their purchase model, right? So you can just buy the scooter like you would for any other scooter, but you can also rent it at a monthly rate. Now the rates have changed over time, so you'll want to check their website for that, but this is really cool because this covers having the scooter, repairs, damage, and I think it even covers theft. So it's a completely different kind of concept to having a scooter that you can use, right? And it's a beautiful scooter. It's great, but you can pay for it in ways that are absolutely new. Now, all that said, let's go ahead and take a look at what comes in the box and putting this thing together. Assembly of this scooter is absolutely at high point, right? So when you take this thing out of the box, it is almost completely assembled, right? So the base and then the arm are all there together. So you can just simply snap the arm up, and the only steps that you have to perform for assembly are connecting the wires, and I think they call that a barrel connector, and then actually bolting on the handlebars. At that point, you're completely assembled. Even beyond that, the battery comes partially charged, so you're good to go. So you can take this thing, pull it out of the box, and within 20 minutes, you could be on the road and riding, which is really outstanding. Now let's talk a little bit about what you get with the Unagi Classic. So first off, there's a choice of 5 different colors, and there's black, white, red, blue, and a goldish color. So plenty of options for your own personalization there. The handlebars are where a lot of the action is, and they're very nicely designed. So you got paddles on either side for your stop and go kind of situation. There's a mode button that's easily reachable with your thumb. And then on the front, there's a nice headlamp. The display is super bright and it's visible easily during daylight, which I found has been issues with other devices, particularly scooters that you use outdoors during the daylight hours. The important stats are you get a 12-mile maximum range. 20 miles per hour is the max speed when you set it to the maximum speed option. You have 800 watts of power. It's almost 30 pounds, 28.5 pounds. You get 80% charge in 3.5 hours, and it folds with one click. Now, those things are all great, but from those, I want to pick out a couple of things. So one, it's really easy to carry this around, right? So if you need to transfer to bus, to ride, then maybe to a train or something like that, this one is really easily carryable. And I think that really suits it well for the city type of use. Now, the one thing that's not so good, and I need to call this out, is that the wheels they're 7.5 inch and they're designed to never go flat. So they're not filled with air, they're solid, but they have little gaps in them so that the wheels can deform on bumps. However, it doesn't give you a lot of shock absorption, right? So, and there's no other kind of shock absorption built into the system, so you're depending fully on the tires. So on a smooth road, this thing's awesome, but on a rough road, you're going to have a fairly rough ride. Now, I tried this out as a 250-pound guy, and it carried me fine. Now, I don't know what kind of grade it would take for it to give up on me, because I am well outside of the maximum rider weight for this. So, check your weight, check the maximum rider weight for this, which I think is 220 pounds, which is actually pretty darn good. You know, if you fall into the normal size person, then you're going to be good. Now, if you're like me, a plus size model, it still will handle you, but you might want to think about the step up model, which has got a little more oomph. But like I said, if you're not doing hills, it carried me just fine. I would assume that the maximum range will be lowered and the maximum speed would be lowered as well, just due to my size. But I had no problems using this, which I thought was awesome. All right, let's sum things up for the final thoughts. The scooter looks beautiful, right? It's a gorgeous piece of equipment. It's easy to assemble. It's easy to use. It's easy to charge. The functions on the handlebars are easily accessible, even with riding with your thumb. It's easy to change the riding modes. The ride can be rough, so this is really targeted toward the urban rider. And then one thing that I think that everyone needs to keep in mind is the cost model. So you don't have to put $1,000 up to get one of these unless you just want to. You can rent this thing for 40 bucks a month, and it's more like a lease of a vehicle, you know, that you would think about when you're buying a car, which really makes it, you know, very attractive to those that don't want to sink a lot of money into a scooter at one time, especially if you're worried about wear and tear and that kind of thing. So highly recommended for those that want to use this in an urban setting and don't necessarily want to drop a huge amount of change all at one time. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things, and I'll see you in the next video.